Yes, indeed, it is still part of our morning show right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the one we call Morning Spies. And this is where we discuss on issues. Of course, we do this every Monday, every Wednesday, and also every Friday right here on Flow 94.9 FM. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions, some of those issues bothering us and in different sectors of the country, right here in Abia State and also at the center. We discuss them, do in-depth analysis with the help of our guest or analyst so that you can make better decisions in the nearest future. So welcome on board. We're live on Facebook already, facebook.com/Flow949FM. My name is Michael Oni. Now this morning we're still looking at what is playing out ahead of the 2023 general elections in Abia State. But this time around we're looking at the Abia Charter of Equity and the issue of competence ahead of the 2023 general elections, precisely on the 29th of May 2023. A new set of leaders are expected to take over governance in Nigeria at different levels, and this is based on the projection that an election would hold as planned by INEC next year. However, right here in Abia State, God's own state, we are revisiting those issues, like I said earlier, and those factors that might shape the election, especially the race for who becomes the next governor of Abia State, who is going to man the helms of affairs right here in the Abia State, who is going to be the next chief executive officer of the state. And the Charter of Equity, that document, the much talked about document handed to the state by the founding fathers, cannot be stressed. Well, the gladiators have admitted to the existence of that document, but the point of disagreement stems from their interpretations of the articles that are in that document. So on the platform this morning, we're about to look at some of the leadership questions, and we have with us in the studio, joining me live right here in the studios of Flow 94.9 FM, the Executive Vice President, Center for Policy and Foreign Engagement. He is the Board of Trustee member of the President Obasanjo Presidential Library, former Secretary, Nigeria Presidential Dairy Development Program during the former President Obasanjo's administration, former special advisor to the FCT minister during late President Yaradua's government, and the former commissioner for information and culture and tourism in Abia State. I'm talking about Dr. Agbai, Eke Agbai. What a very rich CV, if I may say. Good morning to you, Doctor. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for inviting me to your program.
All right, let's begin. I'm sure you're a follower of events. You've been in the information sector and you've been following the polity till this point. Are you impressed with the questions Abias are asking before we delve into some of those issues that we have this morning?
Every question is a legitimate one,
okay,
because it advances the issues that will come into play. Besides, when questions are asked by people,
yes,
and remember this, the people, they are the decider of who will lead the state. They are the holders of the mandate. So any question they asked must be considered to be legitimate.
Interesting. So let's look at the leadership questions, some of the leadership questions. If we are looking at 2023, at least we take a look at where we're coming from before we look at where we're headed. Let's start by taking your assessment of where Abia is at the moment. Do you think we have done fairly on some fronts?
Well, the truth is, you always expect the best. Has Abia done something that we all should be able to talk about? Yes.
Okay.
The truth is, if you go back to 1999 until 2003, the first administration, there's nobody that comes to office that does not do something.
Okay.
The assessment of how much he has done is for the people to judge. It is not fair to say that somebody comes into office and he did not do anything. You can say he did not do enough. But what the next person does when he comes in is to look at what the previous person has done, pick the ones he did right. The ones he did not do right, it is left for you to pick it up and then do it. The issue of constantly condemning somebody who has been a governor before is not even very important.
Okay.
That is for historians and that's for the people. You that is coming in, you want to make sure that you pick what the person has done. Let's just take, for example, the former governor of Abia State, Roger Okalo, His Excellency. He did his best. If I were to be the next governor, I would look at what he did, that he did right. Those ones that he did not do, I will make sure that I do it. When the next person comes, he will start from where I have stopped. So the issue of continuity is extremely important. The idea of constantly speaking ill of previous governors is not important. A new brand of thinking, a new brand of leadership must emerge, where you make an assessment of what has happened previously, you build on it, and hope that the next person that comes in continues from there.
But there is no way you can make an assessment without talking about what happened in the past. When you look at the comparative analysis, you do a bit of what happened in the past and talk about the present, maybe do a projection of the future.
Absolutely.
So how will you avoid not talking about the past without doing that projection?
Absolutely. What you do is part of how you build the administration. Talking about it to the public are two different things. When you talk in the public and when you talk privately, those are two different things. So I'm not into condemnation.
Okay.
So when I make an assessment, it is for me to use it internally. And because we must always have a way of talking to the other person. If I have access to you, I don't need to come to the studio to tell you what I've thought about you. It's for me to say you should have done this one this way, but you did not. However, I'm not going to get into probing. It is left for me to do it well. But this is what I need from you. I need your support and I need your cooperation. The idea is there's so much agitation. So we must have a new way of thinking. There were things, for example, that Obama did not do right. There are things that he would have wanted to do. When Joe Biden, for example, using that analogy, came on board, he did not go to the public to start talking about it, but he started implement, especially in the area of foreign policy, which Obama was not very good at. And Joe came in, Joe Biden that is, and then worked on it. So that is what you do. You don't discuss it in the public. And that is where I differ.
Human wants, they say, is insatiable. We cannot provide for everything.
Yes.
Exactly. When a government is in power, you get to ask some questions and say, we don't even like what is going on right now. Maybe we should change the person in the leadership.
Yes.
So at what point do you tell that person, if you're saying that, okay, we should not talk about, maybe we should not discuss it. For example, for those that have the opportunity of getting across to those in power. So at what point do you think they should speak out? Are you saying they shouldn't speak out at all?
No. The speaking out is left for the people. We are talking about the different contestants.
Okay.
If I am going to run for the governor of Abia State, which I'm seriously considering, for example, what I do is to make my assessment and build a type of relationship among everybody involved.
Okay.
As I said, the governor of Abia State
from 1999.
From 1999 to 2003 was Governor Jus Okalo, His Excellency, right? A man I have immense respect for.
Okay.
Then in 2007, he decided unilaterally who was going to take over from him, perhaps in consultation with the state, but he was in charge. And passed the mantle of leadership to a great man that we call Ochendo, Governor T.O. Oji. Was very experienced.
He's nice senator.
One of the best record keepers I've ever known. As a matter of fact, I had the privilege of serving during that time. And then he also made the decision to pass on. So the issue is, at every point in time, each governor comes in, he does his best. Ochendo did his best. Then the current governor has come. What we are talking about, let the people make that decision as to who has done well and who has not done well.
Okay.
What we are talking about, the different contestants, when they are coming in, what you need to do is to build the type of relation that allows you to have access into your previous one. What you are seeing today is that they create an adverse relationship that does not allow them to make an assessment and then ask questions. If I were to be the governor, I would say, I would go to, for example, Governor Ibadan and said, Your Excellency, please, I want you to help me, irrespective of any party that I am, irrespective of any party, even if I'm from a different party. I will be able to say, when you were there, what did you see? What are the difficulties? I'll be able to go to Ochendo and say, please, these are what you confronted with.
Maybe I should hit the nail on the head here. We've seen governors emerge and they probe their previous administrations. Yes. Are you totally against it with your analysis this morning?
It is not important.
Are you against probing of previous administrations?
Yes, I am. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You preoccupy yourself with another person's burden. The people will vote me in for me to perform. Let the court, if there is any probable evidence of what you did wrong, let them deal with it. There's a system that does it. My job, when the people elect you, they give a responsibility to come and correct.
Who will take the matter to the court? They say the common patrimony of the people is on the line here. If we are not asking questions about what was done,
you asked a legitimate question. I'm glad you asked this intelligent question.
Okay.
If the institution is well developed, the system has a way of identifying an act of illegality or criminality.
Okay.
And the system picks it up and then takes it through the legal system. That's who does it. It is not for you. It is not for you. My job is to preoccupy myself with the task of governing the state.
It's some sort of distraction.
It is a distraction. It is not for, the only thing that I will not put an obstacle in the place of any act that the system wants to do. But it is not for me to probe. I am absolutely against that act of say you're probing the people. But that's not my job.
All right, in case you just joined us, it is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the last edition for the week. And we've been speaking with Dr. Agbai, Eke Agbai. He's a former commissioner for information, culture and tourism right here in Abia State, an intellectual scholar, and holds a PhD in international relations, cum diplomacy. Now, let's look at the bone of contention here, the contentious issues, the issue of power rotation, although it's a PDP affair as we speak, but then it will determine who will emerge as the candidate in other political parties right here in Abia State. And the issue of charter of equity comes handy here. What's your interpretation of this document?
I'm glad you asked this question. And I'm extremely familiar with the Charter of Equity because in the house where it was drafted happens to be the house of my uncle.
Interesting.
The late Dr. Ezekbana Ezogo. May he so rest in peace, who just passed away.
Amen.
What the document says was very clear. And it is anchored on three principles. Fairness, equity, and justice. What it says is power should be able to rotate among the three senatorial zones so that each zone will have an access to the power.
Are you paraphrasing or you are so sure?
I am paraphrasing it.
Okay, senatorial zones.
Senatorial, which means Abia North,
okay,
Abia Central, and Abia South. Those three zones together constitute what is now called Abia State. It started from Abia North, and Governor Joseph Carlo held fort. Thereafter, it moved to Abia Central, and Governor T.O.G. held fort. From there, it moved to Abia South, where the current governor is. What the charter did not say is what people are actually arguing about. And for me, I call it is an interpretational issue.
So what is that issue?
What the charter says, I have just said. What the charter did not say is that it must always begin from any particular zone. The charter did not say it will start from Abia South, it will start from Abia North, or it will start from Abia Central.
Well, it's
But it has gone round.
Okay.
Everybody has had a taste of it. So where it should start again should be a political question and subject to negotiations, and then you'll be able to go back and forth. And let me use a simple analogy. The analogy of Akawo. So everybody has contributed funds, and each person has a particular period you get it. Mine, Dr. Eke Agbai's own, is in December, after everybody has gotten it, right?
Okay.
So it came to me and I took it. And I said, I would like to be also the first to take it again. If I want to do that, the people, including yourself, can say, but no. But why? I said, because my daughter is getting married. My mother has just died. I will need extra money. The one you paid me now and the ones that I will begin it with. So I will negotiate. That I'm the last to pick it up, and then you should go back to that the first person. The first person can now say, I will yield it to you. So the point I'm trying to make that, yes, it started from Abia North, and I'm from Abia North. If I'm going to run under any party, even if it were to be PDP, my argument will not say because I'm from Abia North, let it begin with Abia. My argument will be first, I'm the best. But I want you guys to consider Abia North.
So it should be competence over rotation.
Yes, it did not say. So
okay.
When the governor, the former governor of Abia State, he unilaterally decided it was going to be T.O.G. with party, and rightfully so. T.A. was a good qualified man. When Governor T.O.G. Ochendu came, Ochendu also, through some people who introduced the governor to him, and Ochendu made that decision himself. Along the principle of fairness and equity and justice also, it is only proper and fair that you also allow the current governor to play a very significant role in who becomes. So if he wants to now come to Abia North, it is now left for Abia North people to negotiate, make an appeal, and then try to see how they can make a case. Okay. So the governor can now say, yes.
From your analysis, I want us to be very clear.
Yes.
Where do you think the next governor of Abia State should come from?
The next governor has to be the most competent person, qualified, and is good. Okay. And let me just also say this.
Okay.
Remember, even if it were to be in other parties, for example, in ABGA or APC, it should always be competence. I want a situation where every person or any person that will be the next governor of Abia State will be the most qualified. Somebody who, I don't even like to use the word governorship. I like to say the manager of the state. Somebody who understands that what needs to be done. Who understands the peace, the security that is important. Who understands in investment, the strategic investment in human capital development education. Where will you have a system that gives only less than 5%? Let's give 15%, for example. And if there are areas where money is being spent that should not, let us reduce it. And I'll tell you an example. Okay. If I'm the governor, I will come to whoever is the speaker, and for example, the speaker today is a young man, very intelligent, very competent. I will say, Mr. Speaker, the cost of running the house is too expensive. As my governor, myself as the governor, I will reduce the cost of running the executive, and I will invest it in security, and I will invest it in education. So we are spending too much time on charter of equity. Okay, and it is too much of interpretation.
I still want us to look at that equity from your own perspective and how you interpreted this piece of document.
Yes.
You first mentioned that it was prepared based on justice, equity, and fairness.
Yes, so it's able to go round.
So that it can go round.
And now it has gone round.
So it can come from anywhere.
And now it has gone round.
Oh, okay.
Has it gone round? Yes. And what do I mean? Abia North has gotten it. The governorship. Abia Central has. Abia South has.
Okay, but my question is, we all know the dangers of some side of the country or the state feeling marginalized if they've not had someone to represent them. One of the reasons the founding fathers came up with that document, justice, equity, and fairness. Can this interpretation of yours be used at the national level also?
Oh, yes. In fact, there's nobody that now say they've not gotten access to the governorship.
I mean, at the national level, the presidency. Can the same interpretation be used at the national level?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just be
we say
specific.
competence.
Will it be fair for the Igbo to have access to the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? The answer is yes. In doing that, it is left for us, the Igbos, to make sure that we produce the best, irrespective of any party. You see, the issue of saying patronize Igbo with the presidency is not what it should be about. It should be about producing the best president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria of Igbo extraction, because the time has come for Igbos to have access to that office. And if you bring it the same way here, and let me say it one more time at the risk of repetition.
Okay.
The governorship of Abia State, we have, for example, you have an ABGA, right? You have APC, and you have PDP. If I were, and I've been honest with, and I say this with all sincerity, with sense of purpose and responsibility, if I am a PDP person and I've made assessment and I found that the ABGA candidate will be the best for the state, I will be the first to, in a clandestine way, make sure that I support. I may probably want to convince him to come to my party. So the issue of who will govern Abia State should be on who is the best. The issue of charter of equity, I've said it and I've exhausted it. And let me say one more time that the governor of the state, at any state, is the leader of the party. If I'm a governor, it will not be fair.
Do you think Abia State is ripe enough to jettison the zoning arrangement as we speak, because it has gone round according to your analysis?
Yes.
Do you think Abia is ripe enough, looking at the polity that is in play as we speak?
No, you do not jettison it.
Without any zone of the state feeling cheated, because if you say it can start from anywhere because it has gone round, Abia North might feel cheated. They say, oh, fine. Now it goes back to Abia South.
No, I'm glad you
where it is coming from. So we have to wait for another maybe 8 years before it comes back to us. I haven't waited for a couple of years, and we're expecting the power to return to us.
I like you asked that question.
Okay.
That was why I used the analogy of Akawo.
Okay.
It started from Abia North, and it's taken 20 years now. Okay. In terms of morality, yeah, you should yes, let it go back there and start. But you asked me what the charter said. The charter did not specify it must start from a particular zone. What the charter says that every zone must have a test of it has. So nobody can say they have not tested it. So what should you do in politics now?
Which every zone must have a test equally.
Equally has.
So if you say it should go start from anywhere, it means we're forgetting it.
No. Wherever it starts again,
yes.
When they finish, it will move to the next another zone.
How will you determine the next zone that it will move to after that?
Again, these are political discussions, isn't it? You see, if it were, for example, to start from Abia South or Abia Central or Abia North, if that zone completes it, they are out of the equation. It remains two. So again, it's politics. The political leaders decide, okay, let's give it to this next zone. And when they finish, we go to the next zone.
Interesting.
Political questions and discussions, a matter of strategy, negotiation. It's not something you quarrel. That is where, again, if you go back, I'm a person who is about fairness. And respect is important. It's always important that if an ABGA person is the governor tomorrow, you want to give him respect to decide he is the leader of the party. If an APC person is, you should also going to give him respect. If you see APC today, APC have leaders that have emerged. I think the great banker, Alex Oti, is in the race, I understand. If you come to ABGA, one of the most brilliant minds, Chief Chikwe Densi, is in the race of one of the most brilliant developer that I've ever known, Chikwe Densi. So if he becomes the party nominee, and is adjudged to be the best, I will have no problem if I were him going to the governor of the state, say, Your Excellency, in an event that you and your party, you don't succeed, I want you to support me. But the issue of who becomes the governor is exclusively that of the people to decide.
Okay.
We are talking about the holder of the ticket from PDP, and we are preoccupying ourselves. And let me tell you the danger. I will not want a situation that Abia will be subjected to another quarrel. This governor has been fair enough that the issue of loyalty, he has been extremely loyal.
Okay.
And it is important that we don't get a situation where we saw what happened when all Oju Sokal and Ochendo quarreled and the state suffered. Other people also suffered. We must be able to be very careful both in our utterances and in the way we handle it, so that we don't get into getting this.
Dr. Agbai, we need to take a break now.
Yes,
but just before we go for the break, are you running for any elective position in 2023? With your level of knowledge and your expertise in some of the things you've said this morning, I will be expecting you to maybe aspire for any elective positions.
I will not rule Eke Agbai out.
Okay.
Politics is something that we use the platform to develop the state. The party I will run under, I do not know. But if I will run, I will be the best.
If you will run.
I will run.
That's subjective. Right?
I will be the best. And I will ask any person who is the best to challenge me. Because I will present what has never been presented before.
Dr. Eke Agbai,
Yes,
are you running?
If I decide to run, I will do the best.
All right. We take a break.
And I will not rule it out.
All right, we take a break now. When we return, we continue the conversation with Dr. Agbai, an intellectual scholar, and holds a PhD in international relations, diplomacy, and a former commissioner for information, culture, and tourism right here in Abia State, executive vice president, Center for Policy and Foreign Engagement, and the board of trustee member, President Obasanjo Presidential Library, and the former secretary, Nigeria Presidential Dairy Development Program during former President Obasanjo's administration, and former special advisor to the FCT minister during late President Yaradua's government. We'll return after the break. It is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions on Flow 94.9 FM. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussions right here on Flow 94.9 FM, the flow of God's own state. Friday edition, we've been speaking with Dr. Agbai, Eke Agbai. Of course, we've been looking at some leadership questions and some other issues ahead of the 2023 general elections, especially that the contentious articles in the Charter of Equity, that document that was put together by the founding fathers of our dear state, God's own state, Abia State. And well, the conversation is still very much live on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Flow949FM. You can keep your comments coming. We can see some comments pouring in already, and very soon we will be throwing the lines open. But during the conversation at the first half of the program with Dr. Agbai, you mentioned and you said something about nothing being wrong with the governor being allowed to maybe anoint a successor, even if the successor doesn't become the governor. If I'm just trying to paraphrase what you said, I hope I'm correct. But we are so familiar with the issue of godfatherism in our politics. It has become one of the greatest problems facing the Nigerian political system. You know, the holder of the political position becoming a stooge to the godfather because that he pays, but because he that pays the piper dictates the tune. Is that not creating another issue of godfatherism in the system? If you say the person holding a present political elective position has the right rather to anoint the next person.
Let us get things stated correctly.
Okay.
First, I am not an advocate of godfatherism. It negates the principles of quality. Who decides who will be the governor of the state? That power is in the hands of the people.
The electorates.
The electorates, they make that decision. What a governor does is to probably move for, support a person to get the ticket to run.
That's influential, actually.
Yes. And for that, his party. Then his party now contests with other political parties who they will bring forth.
Okay.
So in the final analysis, and I want to get it correct, I've said it clearly that I'm not an advocate of godfatherism. The people decide who will be the governor. What I'm saying along the line of fairness, equity, and justice is relating to only one party, PDP.
Okay.
Because the Charter of Equity is debated mostly among PDP as a party. Because PDP has had the privilege of producing the governor since 1999. And that is why it appears that PDP is the only party in the state, and it is not. I want to make that clarification. Now, you asked, should the governor, sitting governor, if you go by PDP, when Orjus Okalo had his way. When Ochendu came in, Ochendu also, and it happens to be Governor Igbazo. Is it fair also to deny Governor Igbazo what the two ones have enjoyed? The answer is no, it is not fair. Again, it negates the same principle of fairness, equity, and justice. You don't treat him like a political stepchild. He should be able to make that. Who decides the governor of the state will also be the people during the general election. So I don't know why. I'm more concerned that let us have the type of peace. I will want Governor Igbazo to remain in good relationship with Ochendu, as I want Ochendu to remain in a good relationship with Governor Orjus Okalo. So that if their nominee comes up as the party, PDP as it were, and that of ABGA comes and that of APC comes, the state will have such a healthy competition. I believe in competition.
So we should not. It rules out politics of bitterness.
Bitterness. I am not about, so that when we produce the best, those who lost can join hand. Because what is at stake is about the development of state, and Abia State is our common interest. How do you develop Abba? Because if you were to solve Abia as a linear equation, Abia minus Abba equals to 0. So how do we bring all our effort to make sure that Abba becomes the hub of commerce again?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that education is doing very well? How do we get the issue of security? How do we issue of peace? Every person, every political stakeholder must join hand in making sure that peace gets back to Abia.
Because of our time, we
Yes,
need to throw the lines open so that we can get reactions on our feedback platforms. The studio phone lines 0808 182 6949 or 0811 605 2949. You can also drop messages on our Facebook page and also the SMS line. The SMS line is 0906 510 8289, and the Facebook page is facebook.com/Flow949. You can watch the visuals of what is happening in the studio on our Facebook page. Hello, good morning to you. Welcome to the platform.
Hello, good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, sir.
This is Dozé from Abia State University. I've been listening keenly to all the analysis you have been giving in the studio. I might have to agree with you because what is going on in Abia State as a whole might not actually be what we want as citizens. But what we are saying is this. I think going on the last some of your last statement, you said that there should be equity and fairness to the governor because he's the leader of this state. What you give to the Mr. A should be what you should give to Mr. B and to Mr. C. If Dr. Orjus Okalo had his way, and T. Orjus had his way, then Dr. Okezipazu should also have his way. But in everything, as a citizen of this state, the most important thing and the most important of all is the PVC and the people. These are the people that have the final say. It doesn't matter how we talk about it, who should be, where it should come from. Based on what you said on the Abia Charter of Equity, You understand? It doesn't demand where it starts from and where it ends, and where it should start up again. I think the people should have the final say. That ends it. Good morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Michael, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
My name is Towoko Chirebe. Good morning to your guest.
Good morning, sir.
So you're actually talking about it doesn't matter where it's coming from. Let me do this little mathematics. If we are to go by what we have today, yes, that their South is about winding up their own tenor. And if eventually it goes to Abia Central, if you connect it to come from Abia Central as I see, that means Abia Central will take only for 8 years, while Abia North is actually waiting for 20 years. My brother, it's not fair. There's nothing like equity there. That's number one. You're talking about, yes, our governor, we should give him the room to pick. Yes, it's very, very important. But if you can be able to, if he should pick somebody that will succeed him in PDP, this has nothing to do with other parties. In PDP, somebody that was succeeding in PDP, he should also follow the charter of equity by getting somebody from Abia North. We now understand. Look at during CA audit. By this time, people have already known that power is moving to Abia South. Why is why is it now at the time of Governor Bazo, nobody know where they have decided to take the power? It's very, very wrong.
Thank you.
By so doing, you're using up the policy for God's sake. Let us maintain other type of equity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just say very quickly.
Yes, quickly.
Let me just say very
more
quickly
calls.
that it is why strategy negotiation is very, very important. I am not saying that it should not come from Abia North. What I'm saying is this is where you go inside and make a strategic negotiation with the governor, recognizing that he's the party leader, and appeal to his sensibilities, and then use leaders to say, Governor, please, for reasons of time, let us let Abia not let it begin it again. It is a political discussion. It's not a question of deprivation. That is, let's make distinction between deprivation and negotiation.
All right. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay, good morning, our guy in the house.
I'm not the guy at the top. Eke Agbai is my name. Thank you.
Good morning, Doc.
Thank you.
Okay, it's okay opportunity. I'm calling from Oman.
All right.
Okay, whatever we are doing today, we must not jettison the idea of rotating power. It has been favoring us in Abia State since 1999. Ojos Okalo remains the product of Abia Chapter of ADC. Nepotiate remains, and even APC, that was why the Ngwa people said to Duolabia. Now that Oki has Duolabia, let it start from where it started. Let it migrate to where it started. And anything to jettison this idea is just to create tension, political tension in Abia State. We have competent men in Abia North, and we have credible men in every other zone. So let that chapter of equity be maintained. For that is the essence of fairness. That is my take.
Thank you, Chinedu.
I'm a very competent person also. I'm from Abia State, and I'm from Abia North. Very, very competent. From Abia, extremely competent. But I'm saying that if I will have to make the case, I will not say because I'm from Abia North alone. I will say because I am the competent, most qualified person to run. I will still have to go to negotiate it.
All right, Dr. Agbai, let's just take a couple of calls, then you react to everyone once. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
You're welcome. Good morning.
Morning, Doc in the house.
Morning. Yes, sir.
You say man not is the name. I'm calling from Mumbai.
All right.
I don't believe that we should be arguing and dragging the issue of where power will go after Oke's Rulabia in this Abia State. And moreover, the people has a better way to show whatever thing, whether the present or past administrations have done well. When Senator Theodore said, a man that we saw as the father of equity said that the power shift to Abia North, he never mentioned any political party. I keep saying it. In as much as all of us are in this Abia State, we were talking about equity. I said he that will come to equity or she that will come to equity will come with a clean head. Unfortunately, it has gone wrong, And these people now started to tell us it's no longer 3 senatorial zones, it's now Abba, old Bende and the old Abba zone. Is that why what brought them into power? In 2014, all of them that they are talking about old Abba, where we are there when people, the former senator of Abia Central said that the company is always moving to Abia South. Did they support Kezi? Now that their tenure is almost ending, now they are trying to put confusion. And I just said, how can a governor zone into two senatorial zones? Abia Central.
All right, quickly wrap up, sir.
So I know that Abia power is shifting to Abia North, and in all of Abia North, we from Abia North, all of us, whether Central, all of us will join hands to make sure that somebody capable that will come from Abia North will become the next governor.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. We do appreciate your comments. Hello, good morning to you. That didn't pull through. David Ejai says, good morning, gentlemen of the press. Honorable, I must tell you, you've spoken well. May God bless you for speaking the truth. David from Unsulu. All right, thank you. This one says, Dr. Agbai is very much right. What we need is a competent leader, irrespective of where he comes from. We shouldn't be talking about zoning. Bright from Umudike. This one says, good morning. Okay, there seems some messages from the previous show just coming in. Okay, Victor from Umahia says, the guide to electing Abia governor in 2023 ought to be competence, zoning, and charter of equity as shenanigans to take our eyes off the ball, which is competence. Abia can't repeat her past mistakes in 2023. Abia, go get your PVC move, must play politics, or else politics will play us. Okay, on the Facebook page, Ihai Chukwa Laribe says, Abians need a competent and reliable person who will provide infrastructure, development, payment of salaries and pensioners, monthly stipends, healthcare, schools, road network, take the state to a great height, and improved the state economy, less dependent on federal allocation every month. Besides, there is no state law known as Charter of Equity enacted by the State House of Assembly since the creation of the state. Mohammed Sani Bako Yusuf says, up Dr. Eke Agbai, engineer Ezionyechukwu Samuel. I strongly believe that Abia Charter of Equity can produce a competent leader as the governor. The reasons for this Abia Charter of Equity is to avoid a particular zone from dominating the seat of governance. Abia Charter of Equity was instituted to maintain peace, security, and harmony, to avoid breaching the peace and security of the state, so that all the zones in the state will partake in the sharing and zoning formula of the political offices. So, in other words, Charter of Equity can produce competence, and competence is from individual heart and mindset. Ezekiel Elvis says, good morning, Mike and guests in the studio. Happy Good Friday. In as much as Abia Charter of Equity has its own major role to play ahead of the 2023 election in Abia State, I still strongly believe that a competent, committed, loyal, God-fearing, and transparent leader should also be looked out for in order for this state to move forward. Much love, Flow FM. Chinedu Okafo says, good morning, Mike and Dr. Agbai. Abia Charter of Equity stands. Power migration to Abia North remains sacrosanct. The most competent and credible candidate in that zone should be voted for, irrespective of the political party. Of course, any candidate can be elected should be able to address the issue of revenue generation and resource management. Kachi Uchebu says, good morning, Mike. Please, I will advise we work with the Abia Charter of Equity as outlined. I believe every zone has competent people. Let's not be distracted by the word competent. It is the turn of Abia North representing Isukweto. Uchechukwu says, what I picked up from your point is political parties should choose where and who will be the leader, not citizens, not voters. Anyways, I know you want to react to comments from our feedback platforms. Dr. Agbai, just in a minute before we step out of the studio.
Well, for me, nobody has said that the charter equity should be jettisoned.
Okay.
It has to be understood. What charter equity means that each zone will have a test of it. And that has been completed. Where it will begin again is what the debate is all about. And I'm saying that should be a political negotiation. Number two, I'm saying that in the final analysis, it is the people that decides who gets to become the governor.
Okay.
You still have other parties, and they have credible people. In their party also, my advice would be let them choose the best person. Okay, yes, you can also get best everywhere. So why worry about where it is beginning? Just get the best, and if the best can produce us what Abia State needs, that is what I'm advocating. And I'm saying is that, as I say again, if I'm going to run, it will be because I'm the best. So when I leave here, I will be discussing, I will go to make an appeal to, for example, Chendu, to please, in the year party, make sure that the good relations that existed between you and the Brazil continues, as also you did with Governor Joseph Okano. I am a man of peace, and I believe that Abia should not be subjected to another crisis, irrespective of any party that
Dr.
you are.
Agbai, Eke Agbai, thank you for joining us on the platform this day on Flow FM. We do appreciate you. And a happy Easter celebration.
Thank you very much, and happy Easter to the listeners, and I wish them the best.
And
many Friday too.
Many thanks to my producer Samson Eze and also Elder Propopro for helping out today, and the guys behind the visuals on our Facebook page, Stanley and Chinedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day. The program returns on Monday. My name is Michael Oni.